if you're a younger guy in your 20s or younger and you want to make a ridiculous amount of money online in the next couple of years, then I think you're going to find a lot of value in this video. So listen up, because I'm about to shed some light and maybe even open your eyes to the reality of making money online. No, 3:57 a.m. to be exact. It's raining right now, and I honestly had no other time to shoot this video, but I'm okay with that because I want this video to be very genuine and very honest about the reality of this topic, because I'm sure you've seen all of the gurus that create content going around talking about, oh, make $10,000 in your sleep every night without lifting a finger. But the difference between me and those gurus is that I don't have a course to sell you. So I am just going to tell you the truth about making money online from my own experience. All right, you ready? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the harsh truth. There is no such thing. There is no such reality as making 10K a night every single night without lifting a finger in your sleep. It's just not a possibility. Passive income isn't even a feasible option if you're just starting out, right? Because if you want to get there eventually, you're gonna have to work 10 times harder than any traditional career path. If you don't like that, if you expect it to be easy, then I don't know what to tell you, because it's not the reality of things. So, I mean, you can click off the video, you can go cry about it, or if you are willing to put in the work, then you can take notes, because I am about to reveal the way to actually make money online. And it's not, mindset, it's not discipline. Obviously those things are important, but those are honestly a lot of the times just motivational fluff, right? They're not actionable steps that will get you to this end result of becoming a millionaire by 2030, or whatever the title of the video. And those actionable steps are what I'm going to give you. All right? So, the key to actually making money online is mastering a high-value skill that you can use to get paid based off of the value you provide rather than an hourly rate. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. The secret to actually making money online is mastering a high-value skill set that you can use to get paid based off the value you provide rather than an hourly rate. Okay? So let me break it down. There's a lot of these high value skill sets. I'm going to be talking about the one that I specifically used to generate my wealth, because that's the one that I'm most educated on. But I tell people this all the time. There's no perfect business model, right? Any and every business model will work if you work, right? And obviously you don't want to go around doing some goofy business model. I'm talking about the big ones. And once you master a relevant high-value skill set, you'll never be out of work because of how much demand there is for masters of the craft, right? The market is huge. So you'll never be out of work. You'll have an infinite clientele. And with an infinite clientele, you can actually charge what you're worth, right? You can charge based on the value you provide. Like I said, businesses will pay you because you're generating them so much income that it would be silly not to, right? They don't want to lose that. And it's not something that they can do because they don't have this skill set, all right? I hope that makes sense. So how do you master a relevant, high-value skill set and use it to make a ridiculous amount of money online? I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you based off my experience and, based off the high-value skill set that I mastered, right? I don't like to say mastered because obviously, I'm learning every day. I really don't want to call myself a master because I feel like it's corny. But, I am better than 99% of people at what I do. So, take that as you will. The skill set that I'm talking about, skill set that I mastered, can be categorized under marketing, but it started with copywriting. All right? So if you haven't heard of copywriting, you're living under a rock. But a simple definition is persuasion through written word. So any sort of written word in emails, landing pages, websites, sales pages, VSL scripts, anything of that nature. Becoming a master copywriter is so valuable because when you're a master copywriter, you can actually persuade any specific target audience to take any specific action with just a couple of lines, right? Which is it's insane. And this skill is so valuable to specifically any businesses, but specifically info product businesses and online education businesses. They need good copy because skyrocket their conversion rates, which generates them more sales, makes them more money at the end of the day. And that's what they want. That's what everybody wants. That's why people are in business, because they want to make more money. And that's what you can do with this skill. And once you master the skill of copywriting, you now have the foundation for a skill set that you can build, right? That allows you to actually manage the whole process for your clients and essentially play the role of a marketing agency, right? Managing the mid to back end of the funnel for these info product business owners. And that's exactly what I did, right? Started learning copywriting. I was learning how to bang out killer emails. And at the same time, I was in this Discord server, which is important because it was a Discord server of this big agency, social media marketing agency, 6-figure agency. And I was networking with the members of the agency at the same time while I was learning. And so after a couple of months, this led to me working with the agency and writing emails for them, right? Because you right place, right time, right connections. And that's where I learned the majority of what I know about the info product business now, and kind of figured out this perfect formula. But that's a whole nother video, a whole nother story for a whole nother video. Back to the copywriting aspect of the agency, which is what I'm going to be talking about, and that's the purpose of this video. Right? I'm going to be revealing the 6 lessons that I learned while being a part of this 6-figure agency that led me to becoming a master of my craft and a master copywriter. Right? So I split off from the agency eventually, but not before learning everything there is to know about copywriting from these master copywriters. The stuff that they taught me I found very valuable, and if you want to be a master copywriter, I think you'll find this stuff very valuable too. So there's some of that stuff, some of the stuff from books, some of the stuff from the agency, a little bit of everything, but I'm going to be giving you the 6 lessons that I learned. All right, number 1, how to actually start writing copy. Now, this isn't anything crazy. I just wanted to start it off by going over how to actually start writing a piece of copy, because a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people just overcomplicate this. As a beginner, you're using templates, obviously, and frameworks like CJN, PAS, whatever else. And even if you're using those frameworks, this piece of advice, this little tip, I've found it to be very useful. So if I'm writing copy for, let's say, a sales page or a hard sell email, what I do is start by listing all of the benefits of the product. And usually I have a specific avatar in mind as well, the exact person, the exact age, the exact everything about them, the specific person, so you can really tailor your writing to that person. And you have to have market research to know this, obviously, which market research, I don't know why nobody talks about market research and actually understanding your target audience, but it's huge. But once you actually do this research and understand your target audience, you'll know what approach to take when actually writing your copy. So for example, if you're still using the frameworks, if you're using PAS, problem, agitate, solution, you'll already have the solution after listing all the benefits, because you know what solution your target audience is looking for when you do the market research. And usually that's the hardest part, figuring out how to actually communicate the solution in a way that your target audience would understand. So I found that very useful. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, lesson number 2 that I learned. This is something I got from the book Cash Advertising, which is absolutely amazing. If you seriously want to be a copywriter, you need to read this book. Amazing, dude. I can't stress it enough. Please just go read the book. So as a copywriter, your goal is to take your target audience from window shoppers to people who actually open up their wallets and buy, right? People who are actually handing you money. And the most effective way to do this, and the way that most window shoppers actually end up buying, is through emotions, right? An emotional decision backed by logic. In the book, it talks about the 8 human desires, and you can tap into these 8 human desires to actually pique the emotional interest of your customers, your target audience. And those 8 desires are as following: survival, food, freedom from pain, intimacy, comfort, status, loved ones, and social approval. Now, let me break it down Because when I read this, I was kind of confused. I didn't really understand it. I didn't really understand how I could use it in my writing. Like, I mean, obviously, it's nice to know those 8 human desires, but how are you going to actually tap into that? The best way to tap into these desires is through visual demonstration of the product in your customer's head. And you can do this with specific types of copywriting, by using specific visual words and storytelling. You can paint a picture to your audience of what it's like to actually interact with your product, what it's like if you buy it, the benefits you'll get, all that. You paint that picture and give them that experience inside their head, and they'll be emotionally attached to this product now, more likely to buy. Like I said, you do this to demonstrate the use of the product in your customer's mind long before they even buy the product, because the first use of the product is in the customer's mind. Right? It's a fun fact, little trick that I like to use. The third lesson: establish credibility. Now, credibility, I feel like people talk about it, but they don't talk about specifically this specific way that I found that establishes credibility easily for anyone. So I like to use something called heuristics. And heuristics are essentially shortcuts that we as humans form in our brain to make judgments and decisions about a product. And when you factor in heuristics, you'll realize that it actually could be useful to write longer pieces of copy and use that to your advantage. And before you leave a comment, oh, clear and concise. Oh, like, yes, obviously you don't want to be writing super long copy for your headline, or certain things. Obviously you want to be clear and concise, but there's times where long body copy is actually very useful. And I'll give an example of that. Testimonials. If you have a sales page, and your testimonial section has like 3 testimonials. Yeah, 3 testimonials. I guarantee you, if you split test that, another sales page, the exact same thing, except 9 testimonials or 12 testimonials, as big of a number as you can, the sales page with the more testimonials is going to do better. Even though it's more copy, even though it's longer, bigger, you're going to do better with that sales page, because nobody's actually going to be scrolling through all the testimonials and reading each and every one. What they're going to do is use heuristics to make a judgment based off of how many testimonials. They're going to be like, oh, look at all these testimonials. This is amazing. And you see this a lot with certain high-converting sales pages. People just have endless testimonials, and there's little pieces of copy in between. And that's a really effective way of doing things because of heuristics. That's lesson number 3. Lesson number 4, fear sells. And I have to be very careful with this one, because this can be a dangerous one. Fear sells because fear creates stress, and stress creates desire. And I already talked about how important desire was, obviously, with the 8 human desires, and how you can use that to tap into emotionally sell any of your customers. So the biggest thing I would say about using fear in your copy is that you don't want to lose your morals. Obviously, you don't want to lie to people and try to scare people into taking action and actually buying your product or joining your course, paying the money for the mentorship, because people will see right through that. And you can't scare somebody into making a decision like that, because you can't create new fears. So what actually works are specific, believable recommendations on how to solve an existing fear that the target audience is already aware of, or maybe they're unaware of this fear, but it's something that if you shed it to light, they'll be like, oh yeah, I struggle with that, or oh yeah, that's something that that's a fear, right? So example of this, something like FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. A lot of people have this fear. So you could tap into this fear in your copywriting with something like scarcity, right? You see this a lot with deadline sequences. Oh, you only have 1 day left before the price goes up forever, or I'm only accepting 3 more members for my private community, stuff like that, right? So creating scarcity, it taps into that FOMO. You're afraid that you're going to miss out on this. Or you could do this, you flip side of this, instead of creating scarcity, you could actually reward your target audience for taking action now instead of waiting. So, oh, right now I'm doing a discount. You see this all the time, 10% off for the next 5 people, and that's actually more of a reward. So you're rewarding good behavior. Number 5, the 5th one actually ties in with the 4th one a little bit too. It's a quick one, but it's a lesson that I learned about belief shift copy. And the lesson is this: it's easier to actually strengthen or weaken existing beliefs instead of completely changing them in the mind of your customer, right? Because it's actually very hard to do that, to completely change your customer's mind, make them take a 180-degree turn. You're never usually doing that in copywriting and marketing. That's not your goal. There's so many beginners that do this wrong. Copywriting is not manipulation. It's not persuading your audience to buy something that they never had a use for, never wanted. I see this all the time with beginners, specifically in the fitness niche. It's literally the worst. Writing this super aggressive copy. It's just, that's not the way to do it. You shouldn't be talking to your audience like you're Andrew Tate. That's not your brand voice. You don't want to straight up tell the target audience that, you're wrong, this is what you need to do. Whoa. You don't want to do that, because then you're creating hostility. You want to avoid the things that will start full-on debates. Instead, you want to actually give your target audience what they want to hear. What you will actually want to do is work with people's existing beliefs to solve problems and fulfill needs that they were already aware of, but they're just looking for the solution. So you come in as the solution and you present that in a way that they can agree with, in a way that aligns with their initial, previous beliefs, existing beliefs. And finally, lesson number 6, I'm going to end it with something simple yet extremely effective, and that is the power of specificity. And I'm going to tell a story about this one as well. Right? So, before I started working with this agency, my target audience, I was freelancing, right? Even though I had no clients, right? This was the very beginning. I had no idea what I was doing, honestly, but I was writing copy when practicing for all sorts of target audience, all sorts of niches, really, and this wasn't good, and I'm going to tell you why. So specificity is important because it just makes it so easy to crush your competition when you're being extremely specific, and I'll explain kind of how I learned that through my own journey of copywriting, and then how you can actually use that when writing copy for the brands that you're working with and people that you're working with. All right, so as I'm freelancing, obviously the market's kind of saturated now, to say the least, right? A little bit saturated, just a little bit, right? So there's a bunch of copywriters, a bunch of people calling themselves copywriters. A lot of these people have no clue what they're doing, and it sucks. So how you can beat this is by being extremely specific. So somebody who has a branded profile, copywriter, it's not specific. People see this every single day. But if I were to change my whole identity and my whole branding to, and this is something that I was doing, copywriter for trading coaches who sell their courses and communities through a WAP checkout page. And there's a lot of benefits to this. The first benefit I would say is that you get to work with your ideal client. You just list all the qualifications of your ideal client, and put that in your outreach, put that in your bio, put that in whatever you're doing for client acquisition. And you'll be able to attract more of exactly what you need and less of what you don't. And you'll be able to attract more of what you need at higher percentages. So as far as using specificity in the copy that you write for your clients, right, I would argue that this is even more powerful when you're working for clients, because you'll create an edge when you get into the specifics and your competition isn't. That target audience is more likely to go with you rather than the competitor because of the ultra specifics that they can actually see. Because they can't see the ultra specifics in the competitor if they don't communicate that properly. And so, get as specific as possible, every little last benefit, because it really makes a difference and it's something that you can easily do. So those are 6 lessons that I learned that helped me become a better copywriter and the master copywriter that I am today. And I hope you found value from this video. And if you did, I think you'll find a lot of value from my Twitter, link in the bio. I'm gonna go to the gym now, so I'll see you guys later. The rain is picking up a little bit, but when life gives you lemons, bro, that didn't even make sense. See you guys, bye, love you.